Give me your creepiest Greentext and paranormal experiences. Be me. Be at my home. Hear some voice calling my name. That just happened 15 minutes ago. I live alone. Okay guys, this is a lie. This happened a few days ago, but the voice was a female voice. It was a spirit, or it was just my subconscious wanting some attention. Be me. Exploring abandoned house in woods near home. See person walk around corner. But it was not person. It was ghost. Ghost say boo. I saw a. I shoot ghost because I believe in the Second Amendment and always carry a revolver wedged firmly between the tits of my woman. Ghost dies. But ghost is a ghost, so he's fine. Invites us to ghost bar back. Except because it would be rude not to after shooting him. Try to eat hot dogs, but they're ghost hot dogs, so they just go through teeth. Thank ghost and leave still hungry. Order pizza when I get back to house. Doorbell rings an hour later. Open door. My 18th birthday party. October. Live out in the country in Tennessee. Dark as all kinds of fuck. Perfect chilly weather. Around 25 people all gathered at my house. We're playing manhunt. One guy runs off into woods. Everyone else waits an hour, then hunts him with paintball guns. Plan on multiple rounds through the night. Couple rounds go by, no big deal. My 10-year-old brother draws short straw. Almost didn't let him go hide, but he begged. What could happen? We tried to find him for 6 hours. Eventually find him terrified in a hunter perch thing in a tree. Friend who found him said he kicked him in the face and almost knocked him off the tree at first. I ask him why. He tells me that he heard me trying to find him below the perch hours earlier. He peeks out. It isn't fucking me. It isn't a fucking person. It stayed below the tree calling his name for a few hours. Ran off when it heard us coming to actually find him. Be my father. 16 to 17 years old. Living in rural town in Castile, Spain. One of his friends recently found a cave and he wants to go explore it. Dad accepts. They arrive at the entrance. The entrance is rather big, but afterwards the tunnel turns smaller and they have to crouch to continue. After some walking, the tunnel starts gradually increasing in size and they can walk straight again. They walk for like 10 minutes, just a tunnel that goes deeper and deeper into the earth. My dad starts feeling weird vibes, something is not normal. Tells nothing to his friend and they keep walking. Eventually they reach a cave. In one corner they see a man just laying in the ground. Hello. No response. They get a bit closer. He's sleeping. The man is unnaturally pale, like milk white. His hair is long enough to reach his knees. At first they thought it was a hobo, but his also white clothes are clean, he looks like he has good hygiene, and the man also has lots of gold jewelry on him. Man starts awakening and stands up. He's like 3.5 meters tall, around 12 feet for Americans, most likely more. He says something in a language they don't understand. He doesn't seem hostile, but my dad and his friends still freak out and rush for the exit. The man laughs as if he found it funny. Both my dad and his friends spend the rest of the day and the entire next day thinking about it. After that decide to go back. The entrance is no longer there. Looks like there never was any cave there. They talk with the locals about it, no one ever heard of any cave in that location. Not much, so sorry if it's not interesting. Also suck at Greentexts. Be me. 17 to 18. Have trouble staying asleep cause insomnia. Girl I'm talking to tells me to try taking NyQuil. Helps me fall asleep because drugs make me tired. Have series of vivid dreams over the night. No shit, maybe 6 or 7. First memorable dream is of my late great-grandfather. We talk and catch up. Not uncommon of me to dream of the dead. Mom is convinced I'm sensitive to the undead world. Second dream is of the smiling man that was the myth. Was after seeing him in a YouTube video, so probably just drug dream. Wake up. Can't move. Fucking sleep paralysis. Suddenly realize there is a woman standing in the doorway in front of my bed. Oh shit, oh fuck. PNG. Woman is older, maybe late 60s. She is smoking a cigarette. Manage to grunt out the words "get out." Woman gets annoyed look on her face. Flicks cigarette at me. Closes door on her way out. Wake up. But fing so much I get up to smoke a cigarette myself. Don't sleep the rest of the night. Early 2000s. Be a young lad, 12 yo, staying with grandparents in Ohio. Grandpa and spend a morning in town, running errands, picking things up for Christmas dinner, visiting the barber shop, etc. As we're out, it starts to really come down. Heavy snowfall. Freak storm. Grandpa says we'll have to cut our day short. Head back to the house where Grandma is waiting for us. On the way, we spot a figure on the side of the road walking in the opposite direction. Grandpa can't in good conscience let the guy walk in this weather. Stops and asks if he needs a lift, but stops mid-sentence. Shoots me a concerned look, then asks the man to get in. Guy climbs into the back seat. He's a big guy, for you, with a huge beard and a 1,000-yard stare. He also stinks like shit. Grandpa whispers at me not to stare and physically forces my head forward. We drive for a while. The guy is stinking up the entire car and Grandpa and I are holding our breath when suddenly the smell is just gone and Grandpa busts a U-turn quickly. Confused. I'm fighting the urge to look back. Grandpa tells me it's fine, can look, the man is gone. I turn and I'm hit with a megaton of WTFs. The bearded guy has disappeared. Ask Grandpa who that was. He says it's best not to talk about it, and by his tone I can tell he means that I should clam up, so I do. As we pass the spot where we picked up the stinky bearded guy, I see another figure by the side of the road. My skin crawls and I think, it's the same guy even though the snow is so bad that can't see who it is. Grandpa accelerates a bit. We barrel right past the person. Don't say a word until we get home. Asked him about this a few times before he died, and he always said he'd explain it sometime, but never did. Poor fig. Growing up in rundown part of town. Lots of old warehouses and abandoned brick buildings, tons of alleyways which are fun to explore. Have this girl who lives near me. Tells me she found a weird alley where she can't hear anything, not sure what she means, so I follow her. She takes me to an alley that I've always avoided, no real reason, it just always creeped me out. Keep in mind, the neighborhood is not busy at all, not many passing cars or anything. Plus we're in an alleyway, so it's super quiet. But then as we're walking down the alley everything goes dead silent. The girl stops, looks me in the eyes, and points to her ears. I nod, because I feel something like a pressure, similar to the feeling you get on a plane. Girl starts talking and shouting and stamping her feet, but I can't hear shit. I try to talk and can't hear anything. Feeling creeps me out and I turn to leave the alley. Notice I can't hear my footsteps until I pass a certain crack in the concrete. Then the pressure goes away and we can hear stuff again. We talked about it a lot after that, but I personally never went in again. Seems like this must have some sort of mundane explanation, but nobody has ever been able to provide one. Be me. Outside with two friends smoking weed. Inside an empty outside parking lot. Nighttime so pitch black. We're on the highest floor of the parking lot staircase. There's a light switch which only light up the lights for about 30 seconds. Whenever the lights go out it's just pitch black. When we're done smoking we head down. Stairs go down a long way in pitch blackness, had to turn on phone flashlight. Jokingly say it reminds me of the staircase SCP. Finally at the lowest level where we can head out. Friend goes to look at what's behind the lowest level staircase, I follow. Kind of bend my head around the staircase. Completely dark, see only a mattress, some beer bottles, a magazine, and somebody feet. We all nope the fuck out of there quick. Quickly leave the parking lot. Start talking about it. Quickly realize that this dude heard everything we did and said, though faintly. I haven't gone back since but I pass by the parking lot every day. Be me. 2013. Got married. For our honeymoon we went to Vegas. Get a room at the Circus. Realized too late is a run-down casino far gone from what I remembered. Basically in a budget. We just needed the room for two things really. Like a normal early marriage we fucked all night. Literally we pass out from all the sex. Wife wakes me up around 3 a.m. She sounds scared. Anon wake up. Anon. Ask wife WTF. She saw something in our room. A silhouette of a pale woman. Play brave get up and look up everywhere in our room. Nothing. The walls are bit thin so I blame maybe she just heard something and imagine it. Turn off the lights. She is cuddling next to me. An hour pass wife sleeping. As I start to fall asleep I see something from the corner of my eye. I turn. Not something but someone. A pale face peeking from the bathroom wall. Somehow I could not move. I could not talk. I want to scream. I want to wake up my wife. But I could not even move a muscle. All I could do was to stare at the face. Had some feminine features or it was too skinny. Almost transparent. Like cigarette smoke. No eyes were eyes should be just dark sockets. The lips were thin but show no emotion. Eventually the face began to recede. My eyes were watery. Not sure if because I could not even blink, shock, horror, or all. When the pale face was gone. Was able to move again. Woke my wife up. We left minutes later. We have not have any paranormal experiences since then. 2006. Uncle on business trip. House sitting his mansion in the middle of nowhere. Watching Pet Sematary. Hear a loud cough in the corner of the room. Nope the fuck under my blanket and fall asleep. Be in same house. Hear dragging up and down hallway. Be me. Late at night playing Halo 3. Balls deep in some cough. I hear a knock at the door. The fuck.png. WTH knocks this late at night. I go grab a kitchen knife and walk to the door. I look through the peephole. I see a skinny guy on the other side. Who is it? Danny. The hell is my neighbor doing knocking on my door? What do you want? Can I come in? No sorry bye. I go back to the couch to resume playing Halo. Knocking continues for a couple of minutes and Danny asking to come in. The knocking stops. Go back to the door and see Danny still standing there. He's looking right at the peephole. His eyes are glossy. Danny begins to walk to another house. I turn off everything and go to bed. I bring the kitchen knife with me to be sure no weird shit happens. After a strange night's sleep I wake up. After I get up and get breakfast I realize something mfw. I remember that Danny had died 2 weeks ago in a car crash. Buy album Deathgate by Gravemind. Go to Big Two End Hand Warehouse store. Try to sense for paranormal signs. Touch old furniture and magic statues. Nothing comes up. Feel urge to check out DVD section. See movie Moon. Pick it up, good movie. Drive home. See full moon behind clouds. Dream of gigantic hollow moon with tech and a huge dish inside. What did this mean? B20. Basically homeless. And offers me to stay in the summer cottage that belonged to my family. Cool, no rent. Spend summer in the family cottage. 15-minute drive from the nearest town. The place has no electricity, but it does have a diesel generator that powers the place, however is loud as fuck. Organize and clean during the day. Sleep when it gets dark. Be completely alone. One day after being there for almost a week. Hear disembodied talking around me. No biggie, maybe some group of people walking nearby. At night I turn on the generator for lighting and charging my shit. Inside the fucking cottage. Hear disembodied laughing. Like mischievous children or chipmunk effect laughing. And it sounded close. He 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 he. Sometimes in different tones and at random intervals. Sometimes 5 cackles in row. Sometimes one randomly followed by hours of silent. I believed it was the generator making vibrations in the wood. I told myself that to ease the nerves. Around 10 p.m. turn off the generator. Complete silence. I can hear the wind cracking through the windows. The laughing returns, but this time sounds it's coming from outside. Decide to ignore it. Many weeks later see aunt. Told her about the laughing and the generator. She tells me, OMG Anon, you hear them too? Hear what? The gnomes. She tells me that almost everyone has hear them and kids can see them. And the whole forest is infested with them. And grandma said if you are good you can hear them, but only if you are pure you can see them. I work as a fashion retailer in a small town airport, and I've had a few weird things happen to me. Latest. Rainy early morning start, 4 a.m. Operating in the international terminal, so you can only come through at certain times. Get to work early to prep store and clean up mess from night before. Open doors to into terminal, other guys aren't open yet. Soon as I turn back into store, guy walks in. Really quiet, as if none of his words or movements had any real sound, but nothing too strange otherwise. Asks if I still sell this one design from like 10 years ago. Say nah bruh, outta luck. Thanks me for my time, leaves. Realize that security doesn't open for 15 more minutes and that guy shouldn't have been in the terminal at all. I went out to see if I could spot him, but he was completely gone. The whole terminal was empty. Ask security/customs guys about him, but they hadn't processed anybody with his description that morning. Be me. B5. Swining up and down on my sick new swing. Loving life. Big cat jumps into garden. Huge black cat. Easily big enough to kill me. I start swinging even harder. Big cat stares at me. I stare back at big cat. Big cat jumps over next fence. Run inside crying and tell mom. She won't believe me. Tell dad. I've seen one too Anon. Be me. 15-year-old. Mother died when I was 12. Brain tumor. Horrible scene. But she was a truly evil bitch, and I lived calmly ever after with my dad, having not seen him for 3 years before her death because of her. Since the 90s. Dad doesn't finish work till about 8 p.m. So house to myself after school. Watching TV alone. Massive crash from master bedroom. Like a brick had come through window or someone had fallen out of bed. I'm not scared. Feel angry. Fucking furious. Charge up the stairs. Straight to master bedroom. The room my mom died in. Door is closed. Tear it open. There had been an enormous stack of board games on the wardrobe. Stacked neatly against the wall. They are all over the bedroom. Monopoly money. Trivial Pursuit questions cans. Bits of Cluedo. Connect 4 counters. Battleships pegs. God knows what else. Whatever did that must have thrown those boxes in one go with such force they hit the opposite wall at about the same height they'd left the original wall at 10 feet away. Suddenly terrified. Run downstairs. Straight out front door. Nowhere to go. Sit on step. About 13 at time, comes home from somewhere half an hour later. Younger sister. Asks what I'm doing. Tell her. Doesn't question it. We go inside and back to the room. She is completely calm. Says we have to clean it up so dad doesn't worry. We do. Nothing else happened. Nothing like that anyway, talking about it with sis years later. She goes quiet at first. Then tells me this kind of shit used to happen all the time in the house. Mainly electrical appliances getting turned on by themselves. Lights turned off by themselves. But I saw what happened to those board games and there is no question in my mind at all that whatever did that wasn't human. Scared myself thinking about it now. Haven't thought about it for years. Happened about a year ago. Parked at the middle of a large soon-to-be construction site. Outskirts of the city surrounded by forest. Dead silent. Just chilling, standing outside of the car to get a break from sitting. Sudden unexplainable noise. Never heard something like it. Best I can describe it is mechanical and high-pitched. Sounded close. Startled look around since I have a 360 view of the large open area. See nothing but it is dark. Feel as if something is approaching fast. Shit. Quickly get in car. Lock the doors. Drive around in circles with high beams on, shooting in the tree line. Nothing. Still feel off. GTFO. No clue WTF it could have been. Doubt it was my imagination since I was comfy AF before it happened. Be me. 15 years old, living with family. Saturday night, watching TV. Everyone else is asleep or out of the house. Suddenly hear a massive thump the next room over, like a body hitting the floor. Birds who are sleeping in their cage in that room are freaking out. Go to check, nothing's there. That was probably the most startling one. But I also regularly heard footsteps from the bedroom above mine, where my dad died. Mom told me later she also had heard those on occasion. Grandma didn't even set foot in there. Another story I have that probably has a reasonable explanation but still think about. Doing midshift back at International. It's been very slow, people just want to travel not shop. Checking flight plans to see when I can leave and get late lunch/early dinner. Notice a new flight in the flight plan, no airline listed, just a destination, Fiji. Flights to Fiji are on a very regular, systematic basis and are always done by Fiji Air, so having a random one not listed by Fiji Air is definitely not normal. The flight is at the end of my shift, have to stay open. All the people for the flight are rushing straight to the gate, look very worried. Other retailers are shutting, none of them seem to acknowledge the passengers. No boarding calls or announcements made, people just rush through the terminal and disappear out the gate. It's probably not paranormal at all, but I still wonder where the sudden flight came from, and why nobody else seemed to acknowledge the people going. Also, every flight always has boarding calls, so why not this one? I've got one. Be me. Middle school. Doing free throws at school basketball tryouts. Miss one, I suck. Get pissed, obviously making a scene, but I don't give a shit, I'm a middle schooler. One of my buddies looks over at me and says, "Dude, you okay?" I tell him, "Yeah, I'm just pissed." He tells me, "Are you sure? Your eyes are black." What? Like all the way black, no white. You should go to the nurse. Don't believe him. Other kids look at me like I just turned into the devil himself for the rest of the tryout. I remember some of them looked genuinely terrified, with eyes as wide as dinner plates. Never happened again, and I'm a totally normal adult now. I still don't know jack about the black-eyed kids or the mythos around them, but I didn't make the team cause of that free throw. Shit pisses me off to this day. This was my mom's weirdest story she told me. Be mother after having a fight with my dad. She wanted to get out the house to find a quiet place to just chill out. We live in rural Scotland and there was this cool lil 500-year-old church on a hill with a 4,000-year-old stone circle next to it. Mum drives to the church cause there's a nice view of the landscape and no light pollution, so you can see stars. She's sitting and listening to music when all of a sudden she sees a bright flash in the corner of her eye. It was a fine summer night so wasn't lightning. As she's sitting there looking around, this pillar of light sorta like a spotlight slowly comes straight down from the sky and touches the ground across the road in a field, with no sign of where it's coming from. She's just confused and doesn't really know what it is. Light pillar just chills there for a good 30 plus seconds. Suddenly this light goes slowly back up into the clouds, and she sees another flash light up the clouds. Before it disappears. Be me. Be around 19 years old. Rent out a studio near college. The rent was cheap but it was in a ghetto area. The windows had bars. The door has an iron gate. First days had no electricity. I had no furniture. Just my clothes, my laptop, and a portable DVD player. Sleep on the floor in a sleeping bag with a blanket. It was the beginning of my independence. The second night I was finished watching some series on my DVD player. It was late at night around 2 a.m. About to go to sleep. When I notice out of the corner of my eyes a silhouette of a person. The thing was peeking from the corner of the hallway leading to the kitchen. Instantly freak. My first thought. A crackhead broke into my place. Grab my cell phone, an LG flip phone, for illumination. Little to no light, but light nonetheless. Then I saw it again. This time it was further in the kitchen pillar/bar. Someone peeking like hiding from me. Yell very loud. I'm calling the police. Look around the kitchen. No one. The thing is gone. Checked my windows and the main door. All closed. Freaked the shit out of me. Went back to my room and locked the door. After that night I never saw anything again. But it really scared me for the rest of the time I lived there. Fine, bear with me, I've not done much on 4chan so I'll be Greentext to the best of my autistic ability. Be like 6 or 7. Parents away for the night if I remember correctly. Sitting in dad's recliner, comfy as hell. House is modified Cape Cod, built in the 40s or 50s when town was getting developed and populated. Nice, rich dark wood floors and accents, living room is large with a big bay window at one end, stairs next to it leading upstairs. Me, recliner, TV all at other end of the living room, would have to walk across creaky as fuck floorboards to get to stairs and upstairs to bedroom. Anyway, before bay window is a gap with a couch, making a sort of boxed-in area where I used to keep toys and crap. At foot of stairs is old chair we had sitting there cause fuck it that's where someone left it so till someone else moves it, it stays at one side of the end of stairs. So I'm watching Man vs Wild cause nothing is cooler for a 6-year-old boy alone at night. Get sleepy, turn off Bear Gyrls eating a fucking maggot or something. Pass out on comfy lazy boy. Wake up a while later, stretch and look out toward bay window. Moon is bright so it's shining right into the bay window and lighting up that half of the living room well. Eyes adjust, look out window toward street and neighbor's house, eyes drift over to stairs because I should get out of the recliner and go up to bed. See crummy wood chair that sits against end of stairs. Guy sitting there. Guy sitting in the chair that was fucking empty when I was watching Man vs Wild. Dressed in black clothes, simple looking. Look up toward his face. Covered in bandages, HBO Chernobyl, Joshua Graham type fucking bandages. See hands and head are totally covered in bandages, Can't see facial features. Can make out where he's staring, just fucking looking out the bay windows. Shitting self.jpg. Have no idea what's going on. Stare at bandage man starting out window for a while. Finally, after staring at bandage man for what feels like 20 minuets, muster up the cojones to try something. Ghosts don't like light. Yeah. Forget this guy is bathed in moonlight, the crap table lamp next to me will save the day. Slowly, ever slowly, move my hand under the blanket I had and to the knob on the lamp. Twist, and the light turns on. Doesn't light up whole living room, but enough to light up bandage man's legs. They vanish. What was a full figure of a dude sitting there, is now a torso with arms and head at the right height for sitting in a chair. Oh, but now head is looking a different place. Right fucking at me. It just fucked mov. So now he knows I'm awake, knows I see him, cause we're staring at one another. Can see the ridges of nose and lips, the sunken in bandages where eyes should be. Just gauze, still can't actually see skin. Watch him watch me for a few moments. Remember TV's glow when on. Save mebeargirls.mp4. Grab remote from my lap and turn on big ass first gen flat screen. Clicks on and bathes room in blushish hue. This camel piss is full of nutrients and can chase down these crickets I been eating. Still man vs wild, fucking marathon I guess cause the time on TV says I was asleep for at least an hour or two. Feel like time is slow as I watch blue light of TV hit the chair and bandage man. Bandage man staring as he vanishes. Stare at chair till man vs wild episode ends. Scared out of mind listening to some survival nut talk about picking the pine nuts out of grizzly crap. Finally turn TV and lamp off, chair is still empty. Creep toward chair, run past, and upstairs and lock door behind me. Launch into bed and pass out. Next day put the chair in driveway and refuse to answer questions on why the hell I did that. Never seen bandage face after that. Moved out of that house a few years later to a place up north, have some stories but nothing much. One other story but much shorter from first house. One more post. Not supernatural at all but still scary to me, it's a local story. Rural PA. Guy was driving his truck back home when he hits a slick spot, truck tumbles and eats shit into big ditch on the side of the road. He's able to get out, and crawl back to the road. Calls someone, and has a tow truck and cop sent out. Tow and cop get there, and call out to him cause he still looks delirious. Guy turns his head, looks at them and crumbles dead. Just lands in a limp heap. Apparently, he'd broken his neck, but hadn't moved his head enough to fully sever everything. Until he turned his head far enough to see who was calling him. Killed him instantly. Incipient garden gnomes pouring down from the clear blue sky and landing on my face, filling me up to the ears with their scrumptious goodness and minty green, refreshing taste. Oh, to be in Kalamazoo now that April isn't there. Or with Hrothgar. Garden gnomes, lawn gnomes, they all come down, billowing in their gold-plated parachutes, dizzyingly arrayed with ventricles and left wing patter. They sing and fling and whine and splatter and hoot and holler and they make a terrible mess all over the place and all over my face, but oh, how they fall and spin and twist in the perfidious winds as they sail to the ground. The kudzu creeps along the ground, slowly, slowly now, forever approaching me, hurling me paradoxically into the yawning breach, the gaping maw of freedom, the laconic void filled with draconian singing spiders, previously splattered, and the screaming, dreaming stars. Stars whom I surreptitiously dispensed with, or so I thought, with a yarmulke and harmonica. The stars, oh. The stars, they do scream, and they dream and careen about, angularly, perpendicularly, alternating their right ascension with their left latitudinal factorialization at entire parsecs per minute. Parsecs. I've blogged about these gnomes quite a bit if you care. Be 6 to 7 years old. Go to grandma's house in the middle of nowhere. Have vivid nightmares about the jackal breaking into grandma's house and having to hide from it. No idea why I called it the jackal. Eventually grandma moves and I don't get nightmares anymore. Flash forward to now, 30 years old. Reminiscing with family about how I was scared of sleeping over at grandma's because of the jackal. Grandma, in typical old person who gives zero fucks fashion, drops, "Oh yeah, that was probably because of the time the meth head neighbor tried burning his GF to death and she ran over here and asked for help washing off the gasoline he dumped on her. We told you and your sister to stay in your room. That was one of the reasons why we moved." 24-year-long mystery solved. Woke up in the middle of night. Very thin, dark figure standing at bedside. Looked like a shadow but three-dimensional. I stared at it confused. Wondered why there was a person standing in my bedroom. My confusion quickly became fear. Why was a person standing in my bedroom? The figure lunged forward towards me as I realized it's not a housemate or anyone I knew. I screamed like a little girl. Closed my eyes and put my hands up. After about 3 seconds I opened my eyes and looked around the room. There was nothing there. Hoped I didn't wake either of my friends. I also didn't want to go back to sleep because I was terrified. But my tiredness outweighed my fear of evil spirits and death. Laid down and went back to sleep anyway. Housemates never mentioned hearing any girl screaming during the night the following weeks. Be me. 13, home alone. Parents are divorced, so this happens a lot. House has always been shit and creepy, but we're poor, it's the best mom can do. Mom knocks on my door. Anon, come help me do dishes. I open the door, there is nobody there. I look around my house, I am alone. Both cats have all their hair standing up but they aren't making a sound. Power goes out, wind picks up. Queens Creek, Arizona, sandstorms common but I'm still getting scared. Feel like I can't breathe and I'm suddenly really warm and dizzy, I want to fall asleep immediately. Head is ringing, I'm scared but I'm not scared. Don't understand what's happening. Anon, I'll be there soon. Mom is at the top of the stairs, I'll wait till she comes downstairs and I'll be fine. Suddenly front door unlocks, Mom walks in from downstairs, she looks at me funny. Says I'm acting strange. Say it was nothing, the storm just spooked me. Mom resets the breaker and power is back on. Tell Mom I love her. Cry alone in my room but don't say anything, we can't afford to move, Mom is already stressed. The upstairs mom isn't talking anymore. Some other stuff would happen in the house from time to time, but that was the only incident where I think it wanted to hurt me instead of scare me. Not spooky but for me very intense and not explainable. Just rode through my hometown. Stopped for a red light. Then out of nowhere an very old man came to my window. Asking for directions. I know he wasn't there before. I recognize he was mentally in bad shape. Light got green and the other cars start honking. Said to myself I can't leave now. So I parked the car and start talking to him. I realize he must be in danger because he didn't know where he was and must have walked 30 kilometers. So I called the cops. And comfort him till the cops showed up. Nice guy and nice talk. He was 95 and in bad shape. Looked a little bit starved and with bad skin. Then police arrived and did their job. I never introduced me. But then he turned around, called me my first name and thanked me. Also shaked me hand and it was like shaking hands with a 20-year-old bodybuilder. Drove away and thought WTF was this? First part. Be me. Be in grade school, maybe around 7 or 8 years old. One night I had a strange dream where I was walking along a street in a village I have never been to. I somehow knew that I have to reach a specific room in a specific building by 8:30 a.m. to be picked up by my parents. Finally arrive at the building just a few minutes before 8:30 after having trouble finding it. The doors were locked and I started to panic. I went around the building and found a very small, maybe 1 foot wide, square window that was open. I climbed through the window into the building. I wandered through the hallways that all looked the same until I reached some kind of big hall. Looked at the big clock on the wall, it was 8:37 a.m. I just stood there for the rest of the dream staring at the clock knowing that I was left behind. Second part. Be me. Be around 16 now. Be interested in photography and urbex. Meet with an online friend to visit some abandoned building that he found. We reached the village, after around an hour of drive. He has trouble finding the building. I tell him where he needs to go, even though I didn't even know where we are going. WTF.jpg, it's the building from my dream many years ago. We try to find a way in but all the doors are welded and or screwed shut. Have this strange uncomfortable feeling in my guts and all my hair stood up. Out of curiosity I try to see if the small window is there. It is, and it is open as well. Climb through and wander through the hallways. It is some kind of former military building, so it does look pretty much the same in every hallway. I arrive in the big central room. The mains fed clock stopped long ago, at 8:37. It puzzles me to this day and I always get goosebumps thinking about it. Pic related, it's the actual clock in the building. 2 paranormal stories from my grandpa. Be him be at Eastern Front in Russia. Be deployed behind the line of fighting. Going with comrades through the woods. Come to a tree with no leaves but only serpents. To moment the snakes realize you are there, Russian artillery starts coming in. You realize you are way behind enemy lines that they could reach you. Be afraid of snakes till the end of your days. 2. Be German soldier in Russia in WW2. Come to primitive village. An old Russian granny cursed at you in perfect German. But only the guys you know were religious. The scum, as grandpa said, she didn't care about. Get this woman arrested. Find out she never went to school or could speak German. I don't have much to say to preface this story. You can believe it or not. This is just how events unfolded for me. Work a nurse job for a wildlife rehab center. My job is to just clean out cages, fill food bowls, occasionally watch over and let the more unreleasable animals play around, etc. We've been getting a shocking amount of possums turning up severely wounded, to the point we've had to start euthanizing some because we were simply too understaffed to help them. Possums show up all the time at the center. It's not too weird for an animal who reacts to any and all danger by freezing in place and falling over. Usually injuries are broken bones, or consistent with getting hit by cars. These injuries are much different. They're missing patches of fur with holes the size of quarters carved into their flesh about 2 to 3 inches deep. Something about it made even the experienced veterinarians at the rehab center feel sick seeing it, but we tried to patch up as many as we could. According to one of the vets, they were also missing a shit ton of blood. Most were barely even able to still limp. I get assigned one of the possums who hasn't been injured as bad, only has one of the holes near its stomach. Doc's already got it patched up. My job is to just watch over it and help it get back on its feet. It needs special attention due to the blood loss. Skip ahead 2 to 3 days. We're still getting more and more possums with these injuries. The owner of the rehab center decides to contact the local game wardens about this. We're suspecting animal cruelty at this point, and they take notes and decide to start going on the lookout for whatever's causing this. The opossum I got assigned, I called him Grapes because that seemed to be his favorite food, has healed quite well and most of the possums are in a good state to be released back into the wild. Skip ahead another few days, we release them all back into the wild and let them assimilate back into nature. Next day after we return the possums to their natural habitat, someone shows up at the rehab center with this giant blue plastic tub. I was one of the people near the front desk at this time. so I got to watch this all go down. He was real shook up and explained to the girl who worked the front desk he was one of the people who brought in a few of the first possums we accepted because he knew these injuries had to have been done deliberately and it sickened him. She asks what's in the tub. He takes a deep breath and opens it and shows it to her. I was standing behind her in the doorway, not too far from the guy. The scent hit me first and I nearly buckled. From my estimate, every single opossum we had released was in that tub. Horrifically mangled, but all left alive. There was a bit of a panic as we tried to get the most injured ones the care they needed, but most ended up dying. The fucked up, /x/ part of this story, the reason I'm telling this in the first place is that we found, during some of the surgeries, chunks of metal embedded into the opossum's flesh, right under their pelts. Shit stopped after this, but there's still absolutely zero lead on what caused this. Be me, 9. Pyromaniac child. Play with long fireplace matches, because they burn longer, at my grandparents'. Almost burn myself, drop it on the floor. Life flashes before my eyes as if I fell from rocking my chair. Feel the most terrified I've ever felt. Fast forward a few years. Trying to get pictures of my grandpa for family tree homework. Anon, your grandfather died when I was just a child, this is your step-grandpa. Shock.png. More and more details trickle down over the years. He was a firefighter. Hung himself in the ceiling of that house. The fucking ceiling. MFW, I just had a fucking firefighter ghost appearance, this isn't even scary anymore. Pick unrelated. Not really scary, though it did happen to me recently. Walking down quiet residential street. Quietly singing Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. Get to the part where Knopfler says that ain't workin'. Hear a faint but distinct that's the way ya do it. Look around. Nobody but a man 20 meters away walking his dog. Who said it? 340323667. Another story from a friend. Be my friend, 7 or 8 years old. Visiting Los Angeles for holiday. Go to City Park or something. Park was on a hill where you could see the Los Angeles skyline or something. Get ahead of family, run toward a wooded area with a chain link fence with houses on the other side. Climb over fence. Fall and tumble a few meters before hitting concrete. Stand up. Scenery has changed, hill is a barren green with houses further down below past the hill. But the strangest thing was that there was a huge number 5 embedded in the grass made of cement, sort of like the Cernobas giant, pig related. Elevated wooden platform at foot of the 5 held up by 2 poles on opposite sides, with large circular lamps. Freak out and make way back uphill. Return back to the wooded area, already past the fence. Bruised and dirty. Look back. Houses are back on the hill, no giant number beyond fence. He said the 5 was like the Hollywood sign, but flat and you could walk on it. The hill dropped several more meters below before leveling off to the wooden platform. Be me. Be a janitor at my local mall by day. Be a necromancer by night. Studied necromancy in secret for years. Basically my job consists of driving around a Zamboni and moping restrooms at the mall. At home I read dark magic books in PDF and post on /x/ and practice the dark arts. One day found a dead fetus in one of the toilets at the mall. Blood everywhere. Seems that someone did not want to have a baby or something. Fetus is maybe 4 to 5 months old. Clean the room. Place the lifeless fetus inside a black plastic bag. Go home. Practice some spells on it. Nothing. Decide to implant a lost soul into it. Somehow I created an imp. Ugly looking but does not attack me. The imp looks hungry. Lock it in the basement. Imp feed on rats and mice for the first nights. Hide the imp inside a metal toolbox. Get side gig as an exterminator. Co-worker mention rats in her attic. Go to her house and let the toolbox with the imp overnight. Her rat problem got resolved. Place my imp back into the toolbox. Left the toolbox in the back of my truck. Stop to refuel at a gas station. Go inside and wait in line to pay for gas. When I came back, realized someone stole my toolbox. My face when someone out there has my rat-eating imp.
Want to share your paranormal experiences? Do you have questions, complaints, ideas for a show topic, or a hate-filled rant? Send all your messages to our email for live reading on our show. Email us at atomicshamanSweatlodge@protonmail.com.
Mosey on down to the Atomic Shaman Trading Post. We have t-shirts, decals, refrigerator magnets and other swag for sale. What better way to show your support for the show? Our merch can only be found on t.pub/link/Atomic Shaman Trading Post. Like, share and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to ring the notification bell. You can follow us on Twitter at Motel and RV Park. Catch the live streams on Rumble. Listen to text-to-speech stories on Atomic Shaman TTS on YouTube.